everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
where we, a couple of atheists, try to make sense of religion and politics and current events here in these United States.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, Dan, the Pope we outlasted is dead.
Yeah,
We officially outlasted him, I guess.
we've outlasted a few of them.
Well, we saw one in, we've only outlasted one.
Do you mean we as a podcast?
The Thank God I'm Atheist we existed before Pope Francis and we exist after Pope Francis.
That's true.
Isn't that amazing, Dan?
That's true.
And he wasn't a short-lived pope either.
No,
Like that.
but you guys, yeah. So everybody knows that the Pope is gone. Pope Francis is no more. Here's what we're doing. We're not going to talk about Pope Francis. We all know about Pope Francis. We are going to talk
This
about
is news to me.
what's to come.
Oh,
We might talk a little bit about Pope Francis.
you kind of have to you have to process it, Dan.
No,
It's
look,
so
this isn't a
much
trauma.
So much to process, Dan.
I think the trauma is yet to come, but we'll see. We'll see what we think when we get to that in the latter half of the show. But for now, tell us a story, Franklin.
Well, yes, there's some news that happened this week, Dan.
Yeah.
This was actually the day before the Pope passed. There was a beautiful event. There was Easter. There was a beautiful event held at the White House, an annual affair, right? The Easter egg roll, right? It's been going on. Who do you think was the president when this tradition got started, Dan?
Grover Cleveland.
Rutherford B. Hayes.
Oh, I was really close.
1878. They've been doing this thing since then.
I don't actually know if I was really close. I have no idea how close Hayes and Cleveland were from each other.
It has been funded since then without taxpayer dollars through the American Egg Board. As you do.
Yeah, sure.
They need to promote eggs. We're not eating enough eggs in this country.
Do they need to promote them? It doesn't feel like they do.
Nope. We do not consume enough eggs, Dan, without these people just shoving them in our face and down our throats and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, this year, it was a corporate sponsored event.
God. Of course it was.
Thanks, Donald Trump.
It said NASCAR on the side of every egg.
No, we had the YouTube. What did YouTube sponsor? It was the YouTube Bunny Hop stage. There was the Meta sponsored AI powered photo op.
Oh my God.
Amazon sponsored a reading nook. And sponsorships ranged from $75,000 to $200,000.
Of course.
In addition to these, probably much more expensive things.
Money which obviously should go to the people of the United States of America.
No.
Something tells me you're going to tell me that's not where that money went.
Well, no, it went to throw the event. It
doesn't cost that much to throw the event. Somebody made a profit on this goddamn thing.
Probably. I wonder if it was the good people over at the American Egg Board.
Probably
not.
I'm guessing it was the elect Trump PAC.
Yeah. The article does not get into who got all the money, but somebody had to pay for the 30,000 eggs that were used during the event, Dan.
Yeah.
30,000 eggs in the middle of an egg shortage in this country. Are these people tone deaf?
Let me tell you something. There's no egg shortage. There's just a chicken egg shortage. Maybe they were using duck eggs. We don't know.
They weren't. But it strikes me as a little tone deaf.
It is. It's 100% tone deaf.
And because, Trump has been, he's claimed that egg prices are actually getting too low.
Why wasn't it sponsored by Cadbury? And then you can just have chocolate eggs.
That would have been lovely. Or
it's much better.
Yeah. Anyway, so that happened. This was also at this wonderful event. He was able to say things like, "We're bringing religion back in America. We're bringing a lot of things back, but religion is coming back to America. That's why you see the kind of numbers that you see, the spirit and the kind of numbers that you see." Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Religion has not gone anywhere in America. It has declined some, but it has not gone anywhere. You can't bring back that which is perennially here.
You have to go away to come back. Yeah. That's
Can I just say something?
yeah.
Rutherford B. Hayes basically is separated from Grover Cleveland by a single presidential term.
Oh my God.
Now that single term was occupied by both James A. Garfield and Chester A. Arthur.
Oh.
Because Garfield died the year he assumed office.
You were so close, and yet
I was so close,
so terribly far away. Because would Rutherford B. Hayes have ever just sprung to mind as a guess as to who started this damn thing?
I feel like Rutherford B. Hayes is one of my favorite names of all time. I love Rutherford.
There should be more Rutherfords in the world.
I'm surprised you haven't named one of your dogs Rutherford.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it. I'm going to move on and talk about some more. You know what? Let's stick with a sort of federal government theme.
Okay.
That same orange clown that runs our country that you were talking about has also, his administration has decided to protect one of the most downtrodden of all of the groups in our country. Mm-hmm. And that is, of course, the Christians. Oh. So the bias against Christians in this country is astounding.
It's really hard to get a job if you're Christian.
It is. It's almost impossible for anything to happen without just being screamed at by bigots.
Good luck getting a mortgage.
Right?
Nobody's going to lend to you.
To a Christian?
Oh.
Well, I mean,
never.
Yeah.
This is poor people, poor put upon people.
Yeah, it's all very, very sad. And so he has put out an executive order that basically says it's an executive order on eradicating anti-Christian bias. And the kind of things that they point to when they're talking about this horrific anti-Christian bias is things like protesters who were literally breaking the law at anti-abortion rallies, who were like blocking the entrances to abortion clinics and stuff.
Okay.
They were arrested and convicted and had to suffer penalties merely because they were Christian and they broke the law, the existing law of the land.
No, clearly they should be allowed to break whatever laws they want to. Dan.
Why are they being held to the laws when they don't like them? They hate those laws. So why are they being subject to them? They should only be subject to laws that they themselves like.
Sort of fitting for this administration, Dan.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so one of the things that has happened is that the VA, the Veterans
Administration,
the Veterans Affairs Administration, has sent out an email to literally all of their people. As a matter of fact, one of our listeners sent this email in to us. Steve did. And it basically says that if you've witnessed any of these things, if you've witnessed anti-Christian bias, there's a snitch line.
So like if you see somebody enforcing the law against a Christian, be sure to call this number.
Well, now they did delineate out like the kinds of things that they're looking for. And I'll list a few of them now. Number 1, any examples of adverse actions taken in response to an accommodation request. That doesn't happen. Any retaliatory action taken in response to religious holiday observances. That doesn't happen. None of these happen. This is part of the problem. Is that these aren't against Christians. These happen all the time against Hindus, Muslims, etc. This does not happen against Christians, but boy, they need to report it. And by the way, make no mistake, there is no snitch line for if something happens to you and if you're discriminated against as a Muslim. That does not exist. This is just for anti-Christian bias. If you were denied a request for a religious accommodation, which I guarantee you that's the one that will get reported because they assume that any request that's denied is denied because they're a Christian. Mm-hmm. I want to not do this part of my job, and it's because I'm a Christian. What it really is like people being forced to be vaccinated when they don't want to be, or whatever.
But they're Christian, Dan.
They're Christian. So what we're definitely not doing, and I saw a friend of the show, No Illusions, posted on Facebook about this. He basically said, I would hate it if anybody wrote into anti-Christian bias reporting at va.gov with reports about, and I think he suggested pigeons doing anti-Christian bias. And then I chimed in with a suggestion, and I think this is a strong suggestion. Definitely do not, whatever you do, don't do an email to anti-Christian bias reporting at va.gov and then get ChatGPT to write a very extensive story for you about what happened, pages and pages long, and then send that in and make sure that they read it.
Yeah.
And waste a lot of time. Don't do that. That would be wasting government time, and that would be bad.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, there's no law about it. That doesn't mean, at least for now, nobody's busting down doors and arresting people for sending spurious emails.
Yeah, indeed. Well, all right, Dan.
Yeah.
That's quite the news.
Snitches. Snitches get stitches.
All right. Did you, Dan, I don't think we talked about this, that there was a big, on the show, that there was a big movement for Lent this year to give up shopping at Target.
Oh, well, I know that there's a big boycott.
There's a boycott that I've only really, I guess, recently kind of heard about.
Oh, no. Have you been shopping there, Frank?
Oh,
You've been breaking the picket lines, Frank.
I need my Studio McGee. I just desperately need my Studio McGee at all times.
If there's not Archer Farms, what is there?
Anywho, so there was this big thing, give up shopping at Target for Lent, because of Target's about face on DEI initiatives at the company.
They caved to the bad guys. And stopped doing good things.
They didn't even try to make a show of oh gosh darn it, we have to do this, guys. They didn't even try. Literally,
it felt gleeful is what it felt.
Literally, the day after, was it the day after or 2 days after Trump announced the government, when he signed the executive order ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing, that was the title of the executive order. They literally, they just days within that, they were like, oh, yep, we're done with this. Yeah. Clap their, wash their little hands and move right along, and we're done with it. And it really ticked some people off, and probably rightly so. Yeah. Target is headquartered in Minneapolis. And if you'll recall, that's where George Floyd was murdered at the hands of the police there.
Yes, starting the Black Lives Matter movement.
Exactly. And in the wake of that, Target first announced their work on DEI, right? And so this is really feeling like a real slap in the face of, well, specifically the Black community in this regard, right?
Absolutely.
And so anyways, so that's a little bit of the background as to like why this whole Lent thing was happening. And I guess now that, the Lenten season is finally over.
Oh, thank God. I can go back to masturbating finally.
It's turned into a full-on just proper boycott.
Good.
And you have church leaders, pastors like the Reverend Jamal Bryant of an Atlanta area mega church has come out supporting this, amongst another sort of, leaders of sort of Black churches, right? And as well as the Reverend Al Sharpton is like a big leader in this as well. And he's actually met with the CEO of Target and says that he's had that they had a very constructive and candid meeting. So he came out of it with being positive, that they're going to be able to maybe get Target to take some steps that are going to, satisfy this need, right? Yeah. Of like making sure that your company has good hiring and purchasing practices, right? Like, because it wasn't just about it wasn't just an internal thing about hiring and whatnot. They had sort of developed a purchasing program to seek out diverse vendors for, the items that they stock in the store.
My understanding is that it has been very successful. It's done wonders. Yeah. So it's so weird that they were so ready to just bail on the whole thing. It just felt so out of the blue and strange.
Here's the deal. So people are pissed at Target, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
But I hope that being angry at them is not coupled with surprise that a major corporation would have absolutely no values, right, that they hold dear as an organization. They don't have values of that kind.
I don't know how you can say that. They have a whole value statement prominently displayed on a page on their website, tucked away somewhere,
that will conveniently change as the political and cultural tides shift. Right. Like that is how these small companies, family-owned companies, mom and pops, they can have all the values in the world and hold true to them. And that's something that they can do. But these big corporations, they don't. They flat out don't care.
Someone has not been paying attention to Costco.
Costco, sure. There will be the exception that proves the rule, right? But no, they don't. And let me tell you, here's the deal. It's working for Costco, right?
Yeah.
If the tides shifted somehow, right, and it wasn't working for them, guess what they would do, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but what I do know is that it works. The thing is that it works. It worked for Target. It was working for Target. They just cowered because they were afraid that there would be retaliatory action taken against them by the Trump administration. But in terms of like their business model, it was working really well. They just are cowards.
They clearly made some sort of internal calculation, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, no, this isn't the direction we want to go.
Something tells me
anymore.
I don't think they were anticipating the backlash that they got. I don't think that they were ready for that.
Yeah.
And I hope that the backlash continues. I hope that they need to get spanked hard. I hope all of our listeners, if they haven't already, stop going to Target until they hear better news.
Oh my God, yeah.
I to be honest, I haven't been to Target since.
Really? So, were you that regular of a Target shopper?
I was no, I wouldn't say regular, but frequent. I would go to Target.
Where are you going instead?
I mean, I don't need that much. I don't need that many things. Costco, though, I go to all the time.
You don't need the things that are at Target?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I got a bedspread that I probably would have checked out to see if Target had a good deal on something, but I didn't. I got it elsewhere.
All right.
You can find this stuff elsewhere, you guys. That's what we're getting at. All right. I'm going to take us to 2 different states that are doing the Lord's work. Literally. The first one is, and you'll be shocked by this, Oklahoma, which has become sort of the patron saint of shitty church-state separation violations. And this one came in the form of House Concurrent Resolution 1013, which is it's a resolution. It's non-binding. There's no law attached to it, but it's a resolution proclaiming that Christ is king.
Gross.
Yeah.
Wait, this thing passed?
It passed. It happened.
Well, I'm glad it's not binding.
Right. Yeah. It starts with language like, whereas the state of Oklahoma has a rich history rooted in faith, resilience, and a commitment to values that uplift its people. And whereas the whereas thing, they need to stop with the whereas thing.
This is how resolutions are written.
I know. It needs to stop. It doesn't mean anything. They've literally made it not mean anything. Whereas the acknowledgement of spiritual heritage has long been a cornerstone of the cultural identity of Oklahomans, reflecting the beliefs and convictions of many of its citizens. Many, definitely not all. And whereas the phrase Christ is King represents a declaration of faith for millions of Oklahomans and Christians worldwide, symbolizing the sovereignty of Jesus Christ as a source of hope, unity, and moral guidance.
Oklahoma.
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. But they basically adopted a resolution just saying Christ is king. The Oklahoma State Legislature hereby proclaims, quote, Christ is king.
It's the end of the republic. Christ is king.
Yeah.
We have a king now.
And not to be outdone.
Oh, no.
I give you the state legislature of Indiana.
Christ is emperor?
Right? You remember how the Oklahoma language talked about how it had spiritual significance for many of its citizens.
Oh, no.
That didn't seem sufficient to Indiana.
Oh, no.
So they now have a resolution, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the General Assembly of the State of Indiana, Section 1, that the Indiana House of Representatives acknowledges the need for divine providence, choosing to humbly submit its ways to the Lord Jesus Christ.
There's nothing humble about those people.
No, that is like
nor submissive.
Right? It is literally the least. This act is the least humble thing they could possibly have done. It is absolutely just an act of pure hubris. Section 2, that the Indiana House of Representatives is unified in its steadfast commitment to individually and corporately returning to God and upholding the biblical principles set forth in the Word of God. Now, that unified might be a little bit of a stretch, considering that most of their Democrats voted against it, which doesn't feel tremendously unified. But there you go. They're just submitting all the way to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Good for them.
Yeah, it's sad. I watched a bunch of the hearing from the Oklahoma House of Representatives when the Oklahoma was doing it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, not at the time. I watched recordings of it.
Okay.
And there were some people speaking out about it. One of the remarkable ones was a guy named Mickey Dolenz, who I think that's the name of one of the monkeys, isn't it?
I don't know.
From the 60s?
Possibly.
I think Mickey Dolenz is the name. Anyway, now there's a state representative in Oklahoma named Mickey Dolenz, and he had a very impassioned speech about, church-state separation and why this is a bad idea and whatever. And then he did what he needed to do, which was he asked a guy named Jim Olson, who's the sponsor of the bill. He said, okay, well, if this isn't about just endorsing Christianity, would you also vote for a resolution stating that Allah is supreme? His response was a very long pause, and then he said, that's not addressed in this resolution, so I'll decline to answer that one, giving a shit-eating grin. So that's where we're at. The Christian nationalism marches on apace. Onward, Christian soldiers.
Lovely. All right. Gross.
Yeah, pretty gross.
Here's another gross one.
Oh, great. While we're on the subject.
Do you remember the name of Cardinal Roger Michael Mahoney? Do you remember this name?
I remember the name Cardinal.
Yeah, this is a fellow who used to be the Archbishop of the Los Angeles diocese.
Okay.
And he ended up stepping down. Actually, I don't think he stepped down. I think he was relieved of all of his duties.
Oh, dear.
Because he had been sort of implicated in like this giant child sex abuse cover-up thing.
What? They don't have those.
Oh,
surely.
I know. Totally crazy. Yeah, so there was like this release of thousands of pages of files on priests that had been accused of child molestation by the Los Angeles diocese. The documents revealed that Mahoney had helped protect accused priests from investigation during the 1980s. And
surely not. By cardinal? Never.
Well, he was an archbishop at the time.
Okay.
Later to become a cardinal. Isn't that great? No. So he, so basically what his little scheme was, the way that he did this, is that when he found out about a priest and they were like, in talks, whatever, about what the priest had done, he would then send the priests who had molested children to treatment at facilities outside of California, because therapists in California are legally required to report any evidence of child abuse to police.
Oh my God.
So he wanted them to get help, Dan.
Right.
But he quickly whisked them out of California to get the help, the quote unquote help. But the evidence against him was plentiful and crystal clear. He wrote a letter to a New Mexico treatment facility about a problematic priest by the name of Monsignor Peter Garcia, who specifically targeted boys from undocumented immigrant families, so that he could, like, if the boy ever like told his parents, he would just threaten them with deportation and shut up the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, anyway, this fellow, this fine Catholic man who is now, after being removed in disgrace, or should have been disgrace from his position, became a cardinal, and he's actually one of the people who get to oversee the closing of Pope Francis's coffin.
Does he get to vote in conclave? Something tells me
he's a cardinal. Does. Yeah, why not?
I don't think they all get to. But.
Oh, he's too old. He's 89.
Oh, okay.
So
yes,
he can't participate.
So he just gets the honor of.
Yeah, but there are some stories of like people who are getting to participate in the conclave, and yeah, of course he would have been if he had been 79 years old. If he'd been 10 years younger, yes, he would be participating.
Yeah,
but
voting for the good old boys who know how to cover up a good scandal.
It's unclear how he got this honor. If maybe like Pope Francis himself had asked for him to participate, or if it's just maybe because of his position or something,
or if he just had dirt on somebody.
Yeah, and. Yeah, so that's the Catholic Church, everyone.
Yeah, they're
fun,
a good crew.
Yeah,
you got to love them. All right. Well, speaking of really good churches, the Mormons. You and I are very familiar with them. Do you remember?
Unfortunately,
now did you go to seminary?
Yeah, yes, I did. I went to early morning seminary.
Here's the thing, everybody.
I was one of the really dedicated Mormons.
Yeah,
who got up before school.
See, here's the thing. For those of you who don't know, we've talked about this before, but we'll just run through it really quickly. Seminary doesn't mean priest school the way it does in, real world. In Mormonism, it means teenagers have to go to church even during the day. And it's basically, for most of the world, it happened. It's like you said, it's a preschool thing. So you have to get up at bright-eyed and bushy-tailed way in the morning and go to a place off-site. It's not on the school premises, and then you skedoodle over to school.
Typically,
in Utah, it's a little bit different because Utah is a theocracy. So almost every high school in Utah and some of the junior highs or middle schools that have 9th grade as well, they all have buildings directly adjacent to or immediately across the street from the high schools, so that kids can just and there's a law that says that kids can leave for one period of school and go. So you can do it during school. Your 4th period might be your seminary period.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know this, but Arizona is right next to Utah, and it is there's quite a few Mormons in Arizona.
Not a lot of people know about Arizona being next to, yeah.
I've seen the on the street interviews where people ask geography questions. Not a lot of people know anything.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, Arizona is right next to Utah. It's just down below us. All of our poop flows down there. And there's quite a few Mormons down there too. Definitely not the concentration that there are here in Utah, but there are plenty of Mormons down there. And there was a recent scuttlebutt when Cienega High, which is part of the Vale Unified School District, which is just southeast of Tucson. Tucson's like way the hell down there. Apparently, this high school made a deal with the Mormon Church to let them build a seminary building on the campus of this high school, like between other buildings.
Were they leasing the land, or what was the arrangement?
They were going to lease the land, at the outrageous price. I can't even believe that even the Mormons could afford this, of $100 per month, plus an additional $500 per month to cover utilities and maintenance.
How did they think this was a thing they could? Why do they think they could do this?
Yeah, it's absurd. The church did say that they would have the facility between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. and then the school could use it if they wanted to.
Oh, that's nice of them.
After 6 p.m. It's an absurdity and it's stupid. And thank God it was actually the deal was done. Like the ink was dry, but it got shut down anyway.
Is this something new that they were trying, or should we be looking around at other seminaries in Arizona and elsewhere for that matter, to see if they've come up with a similar arrangement? Because the Mormon seminary in these areas is typically like immediately adjacent to the church or to the school.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a way, like at your high school, Dan, wasn't it sort of in a carved out little corner?
It looks like it's like part of the school campus.
Yeah.
It literally, you would not know unless you know, you would not know that it is not just part of the school campus.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just
like the landscaping just blends right in.
Yeah, it's right next to it. You know, it's immediately next to the field house. It's just across from the main building. It is 100% part of the campus, even though technically the church owns that little bit of land.
Sure.
They just carved out that little bit of land and sold it to the church to do with as they pleased.
And I think that we just assume that that's the arrangement, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm really just like, unless they were like, hey, let's see if we can get away with this. This would be fun if we could get away with this, right?
Which
like,
that's the sense that I get. I'm guessing that, you know, the higher ups in the Mormon church were buddies with the higher ups in the in the, you know, school district or whatever, and they did a little nudge wink handshake deal.
It's like
thought they could get away with it, and then like somebody asked a question and all hell broke loose.
Yeah, because you know, if there's ever an organization that needs some help because they just don't have a lot of money, right? Like it's a little bit of a startup organization, right? It's the Mormon church.
Yeah.
Right. Like you need to figure out a handout to the Mormon church.
They need a leg up. They're struggling.
Yeah. Poor guys. Yeah. Oh, you can't blame them for trying.
Yeah. Apparently, the fair market cost to rent that amount of space in Southern Arizona, closer to $27,000 a month, not $1,200 or whatever.
Wow.
Like it's an absurd difference.
Oh, golly.
Oh, and they were also supposed to get like parking spaces, a few parking spaces.
Oh, that's the real crime right there. Parking is such a pain in the ass.
All right. Well, if you would like to write in and tell us about your parking space or any of the things that we've talked about, you can write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
Well, Frank, we had some folks write into us. We got some people to thank, so I vote we just dive into
that. Let's do it.
This is from Jason, who wrote in to say, "Hello, Frank and Dan. Thank you for another amazing podcast. As an active believing Mormon, I appreciate your discussion."
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
You have my attention.
Jason, you're allowed to leave. I promise. It's okay. I tease, I kid.
No, I want to get to this. I need to hear this, Dan.
Jason says, "I especially appreciate you illuminating some of the bewildering practices of the Mormon leadership. It would be amazing if the Mormon church would be more transparent." 3 quick comments. Regarding people who have their name removed from the records of the church, my suspicion is this allows the church to double dip numbers. The person remains a number on the mythologized member record, while simultaneously being in the teaching/investigating numbers, resulting in the person being counted twice.
Oh.
No proof, just my suspicion. Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Right. Jason's getting a little saucy about his own church. All right. Second, it is odd to have non-traditional leadership. During COVID, when other denominations were being told to drink bleach, it was remarkable to have a heart surgeon, Nelson, an attorney, Oakes, and a chemist, Eyring, telling members to vaccinate and wear masks, and that the mandates to do so were legal and sound business. Yeah, and actually, Jason acknowledges parenthetically that of course few listened, which is probably true. And you and I commented at the time that it was kind of startling how many Mormons at the time were willing to go against what their prophet was saying, because that's not how that used to work.
That didn't feel normal.
I mean, it's the new normal.
Yeah.
But it is a little on the shocking side. And third, in one specific case, I think you're right. The only qualification I can see of a member of the Quorum of the 12 is his money.
Ew.
So, Jason, thank you for writing in and shitting on your church. We appreciate that.
I want to hear more from Jason.
I know.
Jason, feel free to write in whenever you want to.
Yeah, tell us about your church.
Yeah,
is it?
Wow.
It must be so much better now that it's only 2 hours instead of 3 hours.
Oh my God.
I just can't imagine.
Yeah.
It's just so much better. Anyway,
Lucky.
now I'll get back to other atheists.
Okay.
Because that felt a little weird. I'm not going to lie, Jason. Just a little weird. Hannah wrote in to say, "Hi, Frank and Dan. I'm a toddler atheist of 3 years."
Aww.
A toddler atheist. That's adorable.
Pat you on the head.
After spending the first 25-ish years born and raised in fundamentalist Christianity, PCA, which is PCA. I didn't look it up. I'm going to say Pentecostal Church of America. Something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. I've been loving your podcast. It's so nice to hear from like-minded people, feel like I'm not alone, and laugh along with you as we all hopefully survive the Trumpster fire. I'm writing to tell you that I took your suggestion to look for some kind of non-religious local community. A few weeks ago, I Googled secular humanist groups near me. I am going to point out that Hannah's auto-corrected it to sexual humanist groups near me.
Nice.
Which I think that's your next search, Hannah. Why not go for it? Anyway, Hannah continues, I found one in my area and checked out their events calendar. For Easter Sunday, they organized a blood drive. This is brilliant. I signed up and donated blood for the first time, which felt great to tangibly help people versus thoughts and prayers, and also do it a little snarkily with the idea of shedding blood to actually save lives over Easter.
Beautiful.
I think that is awesome. I'm sure that happens all over the place, and I've just never really heard of it, but that is exactly the right way to
That needs to be just
Easter.
A national thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Jesus didn't actually give his blood to help people, but you know who can?
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. You can save lives.
If you can.
Yeah.
I think that's so great. Hannah continues, I don't know if it'll lead to anything other than showing up for these kinds of events because I'm still very cautious of any organized groups after getting out of the cult I grew up in. Fair. But I wanted you to know that I really appreciate your work through the podcast. Thank you. And yeah, that's so, what a great thing to have gone to. And yeah, I understand not being a joiner, not after all of that, not wanting to be in a group, but also, go out there and meet some folks.
Mm-hmm.
It can be nice.
Yeah.
And finally, Megan the Okie. Oh, I feel so bad for you. I mean, I'm in Utah, but lately Oklahoma feels like the Florida of Arkansas. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Just go with it. Just roll with it. It's funny to somebody. Anyway, dear Frank and Dan, last week someone pointed out that believing in the Trinity should mean that God's pronouns are they, them. As a former Catholic with 18 years of Catholic education, this was, in fact, what I believed. This is also canon, and I've gotten lots of different explanations for why he, him is used instead of they, them. I think a lot of it just comes down to linguistic necessity. Hebrew and Latin, for example, don't always have a neuter word, so it must be masculine or feminine. But I once had a teacher tell me that it was so that men would feel more of a connection to God since they wouldn't be able to relate to a feminine God. Apparently, this would help them not be violent or something. Evidence speaks to the contrary. I think he just didn't know the answer and made something up.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Also, like what perfect, like the most perfect example of male privilege, where it's like, but then the men would feel weird about something. Never occur, and it probably didn't even cross his mind to go, wait a minute though, if we say he, him, then the women won't relate to God, and then what about that? Like, it doesn't even occur to him. Just, but if we don't say he, him, if we say she, her, then the men won't be able to relate to him. What about that?
They've got Mary.
So dumb. So dumb. Everybody's stupid. All right. Do we have some folks to thank?
We do indeed, Dan. We have two new patrons on Patreon.
Okay.
They both came in as teachers.
Woo.
We have Sabrina and Lloyd.
Oh, congratulations, you two. These are some of the finest folks you'll ever meet, and they now have the magic powers that we have conferred upon them. So, blessed be they.
Super powerful. Super powerful powers.
Just amazing. And all the same, like literally the same amount of powers that were granted to you and I, Frank, when we were in the Mormon church.
Indeed. And if you'd like to join them, please go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com/donate.
Yeah.
That's the one.
And I believe we have one more person to thank. A person who we actually, because you and I are prophets, Frank, we actually met our Lord and Savior.
Amazing.
In person. Anyway, go ahead.
We have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
More show coming up. Okay, Frank.
Dan.
The Pope is dead.
Peace be upon him.
They've smashed his ring with a hammer.
Yeah, I saw Conclave the other night. I was one of those people. There's been a spike in viewership of the movie Conclave.
Yeah,
over the last week, and I was one of them because I hadn't seen it yet, and I'd been meaning to see it. And yeah, smash the ring. That's some crazy shit. Did you know about that already?
I read about it.
I was waiting for them to hit his head with a hammer, but I guess they don't do that anymore.
I think that might be a Dan Brown special. I'm not sure if that's a thing. But yeah, they smashed the ring. Apparently they have to yell at him 3 times.
Hey!
Hey, Frankie! Wake up!
Franciscus! It has to be in Latin. It has to be in Latin. They have to yell in Latin. That's part of the rules.
Papa, can you hear me? Anyway, when they've confirmed that he's dead, they smash the ring, blah, blah, blah. They're going to pick a new pope soon.
Do they have to?
Right? Yes, they very much do.
Couldn't they just, I don't know, dissolve the whole thing, sell off all that prime land in Rome, right? They could just
or just run it as what it really is just a sort of a tourist company at this point. So just run it as a touristy thing.
An Airbnb. They could just all those little cardinal apartment things,
right?
Which were
put those Swiss Guard to work as tour guides in their little outfits.
Sure, but Conclave really did make the cardinal apartments look bleak and awful.
Oh, really?
Oh, have you not seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. All right. I won't ruin it for you.
I will say this.
Or spoil it.
I'm going to throw out our first prediction. Because one of the things I wanted this segment to be about was just predicting what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
So my first prediction is the next pope will not follow in the footsteps of Pope Francis and will indeed live in the swanky mansion instead of in cardinal's quarters.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Right. Like, I feel like as much as I respected the choice that Pope Francis made to sort of eschew all of the trappings of the papacy, all the fancy trappings, right?
Yeah.
That Benedict Ratzinger, that he'd been way fucking into. Like, he had his little Prada slippers and what have you.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, he was a fancy boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those slippers, you saw those slippers. I mean, he should have been like clicking his heels 3 times and saying there's no place like home. They were
I saw those slippers. He should have been hosting a drag show.
They just like bright, shiny red.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Like velvet. It was literally the gayest thing you've ever seen in your life.
So anyway, I mean, he was way into all that shit, clearly.
Yeah.
And then here along comes Francis and kind of just, like, it kind of, like, if you're Pope, you have like in your mind probably like who you don't want to have Pope after you, but you don't know, right?
You don't know.
And Ratzinger, he had to face it. He had to see like, oh shit, he's really fucking showing me up. Oh my God, he's not living in the apartment. Oh, this makes me look like an asshole.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, I'm guessing Benedict hated Francis. Like, not just I disagree on certain points of theology, but like full on seething hatred.
Yeah. I mean, Benedict, he probably had been considering bringing back the throne that was like the Pope used to ride around in on the backs of people. Like, he was in like some.
He asked about it. He asked if he could get away with it.
Hey, could I get that thing? Could I?
What are they? I don't know. The optics aren't great. We could get some strapping young men to carry me around.
What color slippers could I put on them?
Here's the thing about the upcoming conclave. I have a few things to note of the people who will be voting, of the cardinals who will be voting in the conclave.
Yeah,
because it is only cardinals. It's not all the cardinals. It's just some of the cardinals, and I don't know how they determine that. And like you said, they all have to be under the age of 80 or 70 or something.
I think it's 80. I might be wrong, but
they have to be under a certain age.
Yeah.
Of the ones who are eligible to vote, which is a total of 108.
Yeah.
Or no, 135. There's 135 members who are eligible to vote. 108 of them, which is roughly 80%, were appointed by Francis.
Now that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So are we going to get another like Francis-like Pope? Kind of like somebody who sort of is more trying to be humble, trying to heal the church, trying to lead it in a little bit of a different direction?
Or are we going to get a wild overcorrection and go and get? I tend to my guess, even though like yes, Pope Francis was the one who elevated most of these fellas. They're still old guys. I'm gonna guess that we get a conservative jerk.
You think so?
I think so. I think they're gonna. Here's what I think. I think that what they've been longing for, because it's felt a little tumultuous, even though nothing whatsoever has happened. But he kept talking about things like elevating women or, being not cruel to gay people and not cruel to trans people.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere near the idea of like actually supporting people.
Right. There was never reform.
There was no reform.
Was never suggested, right?
It
was literally just, I'm going to say nice things.
Yeah. It was a vibe reform.
Yeah.
He reformed the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that they hated it. I think that they felt like it was they never knew what was gonna happen next. And I think they're gonna go for a stunning traditionalist, a hardliner on all of the old thing, even though, like we said, Francis forget the words that he said. Mm-hmm. In his actions, he was wildly anti-abortion, and he didn't do anything to improve things for gay people or trans people or anything other than words.
He was still Catholic.
Yeah.
Very much so.
The answer to the old joke is still yes. Is the Pope Catholic? Yes. Does he shit in the woods? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say with Francis, probably.
Once or twice at least.
It had to have happened. Yeah, I don't know, Dan. I mean, with that many having been appointed by Francis, and it doesn't mean that he appointed all cardinals who were completely 100% in line with his thinking, right?
Right.
It would be interesting to know what percentage of those are sort of more liberal types, quote unquote liberal. I love it when the Catholics refer to these people as liberal.
Right.
But I don't know, like, you don't think that they would try to like kind of go right down the middle, right? Like somebody who's a really good communicator, somebody who like has some history, like healing with like healing communities, because I mean, that's the thing. People talk about this divide within Catholicism, right? That there is this push to modernize. There's this desperation almost in some corners of Catholicism to just, please, can we just be a modern church?
Right. While
you have these conservatives, freaking the fuck out and wanting to do, mass in Latin and kill, like, why can't we kill the gays? You know?
Can't we just kill them?
Yeah.
That ends the problem. Don't you guys understand that? I feel like, yes, here's what I think is happening right now as we speak in Rome. There's somebody circulating around telling all of his fellow cardinals, if it were me, if I became Pope, and I'm not campaigning, but I want you to know that if I became Pope, I would have the strong desire to do nothing. I would be very inclined to do nothing. I would wave at the people. I would smile. I would, give my hat to somebody every now and then and do or change nothing. Yeah. And I think that's going to be the winning pitch.
the do nothing Pope.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they want. They want like a leader, right?
No, they don't. They want everything to just continue.
Well, that would be the conservative position, right?
Yeah. The do nothing conservative position.
Right. That's not all of them.
I mean, no, I think the extreme conservative position is reel it back.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah.
Turn around and drive hard in the opposite direction.
Yeah. Vatican II, what? I'm sorry. What was that? No, we're going
to get rid of that.
No Vatican II.
Vatican -1. That's what we're going for. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to go, to another Ratzinger.
Right. Okay.
I think that they're going to go for someone who will just smile and nod and have photo ops with babies and make people feel good and not say or do anything, not talk about world events, not try to intervene in wars or anything, just smile and nod and keep the church going.
will it be a historic pope, do you think? Like, will it be a pope from the global south?
No, I doubt it. I'm almost no.
Apparently, that guy from the Philippines is a hot contender.
They're saying there's a guy from Sri Lanka that's a big that people are talking about. There's a few. No, it's absolutely going to be a European. 99% it's going to be an Italian.
You think it's going to be an Italian?
Yeah. They haven't done an Italian for like four times or something.
They need to loop back around.
Listen, when I was talking about the how many of these cardinals Francis raised up, here's the thing. Most of the cardinals in the world are European. 28 back in 2013, 28% were European, but that's excluding Italy, because a full 24%, almost 25% of the total number of cardinals were just from Italy.
That's absurd.
Yeah. And now that has gone down since Francis was there. The total number of Italians is now only 12.6%. So that got cut in half, but it's still wildly, absurdly European. And by the way, the mumbles apparently around the Vatican are never again with a South American and never again with a Franciscan.
Really?
They hated it. They were furious about it. They hated Francis because he was volatile. They didn't know what to expect. He was like the High Septon in Game of Thrones.
I thought he was Jesuit.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Jesuit.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. So we'll see. But my money is on a European with a heavy leaning toward Italy. It's definitely not going to be anyone from the Americas. I think we can rule the Americas out entirely.
It won't be Burke or Dolan. Is Dolan still around?
I have no idea.
I think he is.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. We will have to see.
Oh, wait, Burke was Australian. He's the Australian one, wasn't he?
I don't know. The only one I can think of was Pell. Who was Australian?
Was he the one that? Yeah. Okay. No. Burke is American. Burke's American. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Australia. Sorry, Australia.
I'm glad that we all had this moment together. So there you go. Frank, do you want to throw any predictions out there?
I'm gonna say I am. I think it could be. I think they like there's a pressure to be historic, right? Yeah. I think it'll be somebody not from Europe.
Interesting.
I
don't think they have the stomach for it. I would be incredibly impressed if it was someone from like Asia or Africa. I would be. I think everyone's mind would be blown, but mine especially. I think at this point they're just trying to hunker down and feel a sense of normalcy again. And normal for them is as white as you can get.
Yeah.
There's a Swede that's in the running. Maybe they'll go with a Swede.
They might do that. That would be interesting. You need to watch Conclave, Dan. Because let me tell you, the twists and the turns, the surprises.
Yeah.
It keeps you off balance the entire time. It's a wild ride.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right, friends. Well, that's it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd like to write into us about Conclave or about, what your Pope predictions are, please send them in to us. Yeah. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to hear from you. The telephone number is 424 666-8442.
To be one of the best humans you can be, go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate and support the show.
This episode was edited by Roger Gowdy, and music was provided by the Red Rock Hot Club and Gordon Johnston.
Thanks to all y'all for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank God I'm Atheist is a production of TGIA Media, LLC, copyright 2025, all rights reserved.